Another short video about a thermal imager here from HIKMICRO. I've been kindly lent these by CBM partners here in the UK to actually go out and do independent testing on with some of my clients, which we did yesterday and a few days ago on Friday. And we test these back to back, and this one from the M series, it's called the M60. Did a video as well on the M11, exactly the same form factor. So they both share the same body. The software and internals are obviously going to be the same, and especially if we just flip the lens cover up on the M60 and the lens cover up on the M11, we'll see the difference straight away. If we want to know what an IR sensor looks like, the one on the right there is a quite small sensor, and you can see the one on the left, more resolution out of that because it's a larger sensor. And while we're here, we can see there's the LED lamp on your left hand side there, and on the right is the visual imager, and then in the middle there's a laser pointer. Let's turn these on anyway, and click while they boot up. All images take a few seconds to boot up and to calibrate themselves. What we'll do here as well, we'll be looking at the differences. There are some marked differences between these two images. So let's look at laser lights. So they both have laser pointers. This is worthwhile if you're looking inside electrical cabinets. You want to know exactly where you are targeting. You target it with the laser pointer, and that's where the center of your image is. We'll power down the M11 again. Just wanted to show you they're the same form factor, and while we're at it as well, they've got the same type of NiCad batteries in the handle. 2 batteries with each device. Previously we also looked at, if you want to go and look at this video, this is a starter device LED lamp. This is the IR imager, and this takes a standard image. One power input, a couple of small speakers, and it's only got 2 external controls. There's a power on and off button here, and then the other one here is capture. So press it once, captures the image, press it a long press, and it will start video recording. That's called the Pocket E. Very small, but actually got a mount on the bottom, which is amazing. Very compact. I say fitted in your pocket. Go and have a look at the video. So let's get back to the M60. First thing I can say, when we tested this, I tested this with 4 engineers from a utilities department. Tested it with 4 asset care engineers yesterday. This was their favourite imager that we looked at, and we looked at them with an open mind, but the main things we were looking at really as engineers in a factory was the focal field of view of the images. And I'll probably put a photograph up here in the bottom left to show you them side by side as we did the testing. Then you'll understand that the field of view of these images is very different. If you look at the M11 video, it's pretty much the same. All these controls are the same. So if we press OK, we can either use I like using the physical controls, but if you don't want to, you can use the touchscreen. So we can go to albums, press on albums, and we can cursor along or down. The session yesterday took place in a conference room. Our only asset of interest really was this coffee making machine, because it had got a hot area obviously and a cold area. So you can see there we're about 1.5 meters away from that. We can get the whole coffee machine in there. With the M11 you can't do that. The focal range is so tight on the field of view that you can't get a decent image at a decent distance away. Go back again to the let's go back again. Let's get out of the albums, which you can do like this. So again, same as the M11 video, we've got temperature measurements, connections, display settings, capture. So if we go in here, we can put all our usual values in. The training session I did yesterday advised them all of these values we should be thinking about, like emissivity, reflected temperature, being aware of the distance and the humidity factors. And we can put alarm settings in here if we wish to give us high and low alarms. Connections wise, this actually works. I've used this to download images from the file via a hotspot. I haven't used the Bluetooth. Apparently you can pair it with Bluetooth earphones if you want to hear voice annotated notes on. You can apparently also screencast it or connect it to a network. I haven't used the software. It's MS and I only do iOS, so I haven't used the software, but I have used the app. So all of our status icons are on, so we see everything on the screen. But if you want, you can turn that brand logo off, or the dates. Capture settings. This is for the visual imager. I've got it set on 8 megapixels, gives us the best image. We can capture MP4 files for videos. Let's come out of that again. Device settings, we can adjust our screen brightness up or down. We can choose our units of temperature, Kelvin, degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. Well, we're Celsius here. For Americans, you want Fahrenheit. And I'm setting meters, not feet. All very intuitive. Set your language, set your time and date. I think I've got to set on 10 minutes. I know it's closed. But you can set on a 10-minute timer so it closes down. Right, so that's that bit of the settings. We've had a quick look at the albums, which is the files where you capture. We can see I've actually got it set here on a fusion setting. I can actually see some of the detail on that mouse map. So if we go to fusion, and one of the guys yesterday was asking about this, there's a parallax correction. So if you are standing a different distance away from an asset and the fusion doesn't line up, you can change the parallax so that the visual image aligns with your thermal image. Or if we go left, there we got pure thermal, so we don't get any fusion image. That's what we had to live with 15 years ago, I suppose, before we got fusion images. We've got picture in picture, a nice one if you're only interested in the center of the frame and you want to understand where you were looking at when you took that image, then picture in picture is a useful one. Back to here. This one is a blending one. I don't know whether I'd ever use it. You can blend the thermal image by 25, 50 or 75%. I don't know whether I'd use that. And then that's the visual image. So I'm just showing you what we're seeing. There's also a function where you swipe down the screen after it's calibrated. All images do that. They all pause and calibrate occasionally to calibrate the sensor. We can wind up the screen brightness here. We can turn the Wi-Fi on, turn the LED lamp on. We can also, if we want, have white screen. Well, we're going to save power, so we'll have dark screen. And we've also got a hotspot and the Bluetooth set here. And I think that's for screencasting. Got 72% battery here. Now, bearing in mind, we played with this yesterday for about an hour and a half, I think the device was on. And then probably another hour or so the other day. And again, we're only 72% battery. The batteries in this one on a full charge will last apparently 4 hours a piece. So you've got 8 hours of battery charge you can carry with you. The other buttons are for, this is manual calibrate. So if I ever want to calibrate that, press here. This is the return button. This one up here is that light button. Again, we can turn it on from here or from the drop down screen. This one here with a little magnifier on it. This one here, so if I put it on that UP of uptime there, and then start pressing this button. If we press it to the right, it will digitally zoom in to a point of interest, up to 8 times digital zoom. Now, how useful that is, I haven't really tested it in the real world. What it does, it digitally zooms, so you lose some clarity, but you get closer to your asset. So I think I might use it if I was around a robot in a cage and wanted to take an image through the cage and I was a few meters away, then you might want to use it there. At the moment we've got 0.1 and a central spot on there, so you can see they're both at 22. That's what it is in the room. If we want to, we can put a measurement point on. The one at the end there is to clear. This one we can put a hot spot in or a cold spot in or a center spot in. We've got a center spot in, so there, it's gone. Press it, it goes off. Press it back, goes on. So we'll take the center off. Let's put a hotspot in. Let's go back. Now you can see that hotspot's actually tracking up the top there, because behind that cover is my iMac, which is on standby. So it knows there's something warm behind that cover. The next one along is palettes. So palettes is where we can get all fancy with our visual displays. I use Iron Bow and Rainbow because I'm old school. I prefer the look of Iron Bow and Rainbow, but we can have white hot or black hot or blue red, which is a bit funky. Let's put my hand in there. It's a bit strange. We're a bit out of focus there. The focusing on this, by the way, is manual, fully manual. Yeah, Rainbow and Iron Bow, my favourites. Red Hot, Fusion, it's confusing, and Rain. So that's about it really for the controls. I think I've showed you everything. You can do obviously all these controls as well via the touch screen. Yeah, you can use the controls here on the screen. So if we wanted to go, say we go to temperature here. I'm on auto at the moment, but I might want to go manual. So now I can adjust the midpoint there, and it will also, you can also adjust the upper and lower limits on that. I found it in use to use one thumb was the easiest way to navigate this. So it's by HIKMICRO. I think I've covered everything. Some of the guys said they didn't like the very, very plasticky feel, but there are rubberized pieces on the grip. I quite like the positive catch on that to protect that. There's a tripod mount here. There's your mini SD storage in there and the power cable output there as well. So that's basically it for the M60. During this you'll be seeing obviously some photographs come up that are comparative with the M11, because the main thing that we found is that although they look the same, they feel the same, they're similar weight, they're both about 600, and this one's 680 gram, the other one's 660 gram. The box, which again we'll be seeing on the screen grab somewhere, the box weight is 3 kilos, so, and it's not very big to carry around. It's kind of like a design based on a Peli case. It's a dual battery charge comes with it, 2 NiCads, one in the handle, one there. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to find out more about Uptime Consultant, you can always go to this. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always active on LinkedIn. If you're in the UK, I'm sure CBM partners would love a phone call from you to inquire further about this imager or the other images that we've looked at. Thanks very much for your time. Have a great day.